Woo! All right, ladies and gentlemen, you heard the woo.
Woo!
It's time for the Sleazy Podcast. This is episode 1, the very first podcast, something I've been personally planning for a long time, and I thought, who could help me kick the podcast off? Well, it's no one other better than Kyle from the Nerdco Versus podcast that we're on together.
I'm just here to help, do what I can.
So we're going to talk a little bit today. We're going to try to keep this as far as what you're going to listen to, a little bit of everything. And we're going to talk about everything and anything. But we're going to go ahead and get started with Kanye West.
Kanye West. I mean, who doesn't love to pick on Kanye West?
This has been an awesome week of Kanye West news. I mean, when I first heard the George Bush hates black people comment, I couldn't help but to man, okay, he's somewhat not crazy, but maybe he's just speaking his opinion. We now officially know that Kanye West has some mental disorder or disease of some sort.
If you couldn't figure that out with him getting involved with a Kardashian.
Yeah, I mean, whoever dates a Kardashian goes downhill. I mean, Lamar Odom, is that guy even speaking yet?
I think he recovered mostly.
Yeah, but watch out. Don't date him if you can. But anyway, so Kanye West went on this rant on Twitter. He's $53 million in debt. He's begging Mark Zuckerberg and another investor to give him $1 billion to help finance his art because he makes the world dope and shit. And I think we're all but pretty much sold on anything but that. He doesn't make the world dope as shit.
No, I think, he's got a lot of fans, and there's no denying that when he wants to be, he's a great artist.
Yeah.
But he's definitely got an overblown sense of ego that just has led him down this path.
I don't think he's done anything good for a solid 10 years since the one album that Stronger was off of. I couldn't even tell you what the album was. It doesn't hold that big of a place in my heart that I remember everything.
Yeah, he's not as big of in the mind's eye of pop culture maybe as he once was.
Yeah. Well, he hasn't ran up on the stage and ruined somebody's award-winning moment yet. Well, here lately, I should say. Not yet. But here's the thing that's really funny about this is he just released a new album. And
his gospel album.
Yeah. And he's got this big fuck you mentality to Apple because Jay-Z is a founder of Tidal, which is a digital streaming website, which he owns a certain percentage of stocks in the company or whatever you want to call it. And he only has his album available on Tidal and his website. Now, guess how many times the album's been pirated? This is just off of one site, let's say.
In this day and age, I'm sure it's a lot.
500,000 the other day. 500,000. Now, let's say if this album was on Apple and people were going to buy it for $10 because most people that have an Apple phone, they're hipsters and they take pride in spending money and they're going to spend $10 on a Kanye West thing because they think they're cool. And okay, so you do that. What's that? $5 million? Yep. He just lost $5 million because he doesn't want to branch out and have it everywhere. And I did notice that his music, he has 4 or 5 songs that's available on Spotify. But the rest of his music, his catalog is not available. So, and I'm going to say that it's only available on Tidal. But, the dude is just not a good businessman right now. What can you say?
He's out there, Like I say, it goes back to being a Kardashian. He's not thinking straight a lot. And, you got to imagine when you're under this media scrutiny all the time for being who he is and who he's with, it's got to get to you. It's got to affect your creativity. It's got to affect your money sense of being around this family who's known for spending money and just being in the spotlight so much.
Correct.
I actually think one of the funnier side stories to this is somebody we love to hate, Martin Scarelli.
Yes.
Apparently tried to buy this album somehow.
Yes, for $15 million. He wanted it to be his and his only. No one else could have it. It couldn't be released. No, he was the only person that could have the sole rights to it. And somehow he thought he had got a hold of one of Kanye's boys, and he paid for the $15 million over Bitcoin, and guess what?
He didn't get it.
He got ripped off. Somebody took his money and ran.
It couldn't have happened to a nicer person.
I know. And we were going to do this podcast a couple weeks ago, and I had some
technical
difficulties with the mic, and we got it updated, but we'll go ahead and we'll just get to this segment. I want to do a douchebag of the week segment, and it is Martin Shkreli. I mean,
it should just be called the Martin Shkreli of the week segment.
Yeah, he's a scumbag. I mean, there's nothing genuinely good about him, and I mean, we all know people like that, but I think it's safe to say this is one of the evilest men to ever step foot on the planet. I mean,
I'd love to know more about his background. I don't know
yeah,
too much
you
about
don't hear about it.
like if his parents had money or where he went to school or anything like that. But a guy who would be part of these companies that would buy up these rights to drugs and overnight, send the prices up hundreds or thousands of %. And I believe they recently uncovered some emails where he said, "We're on our way to $1 billion" or something.
Yeah. And, I mean, he's already been arrested for funneling money through different companies. And
I think he got kicked out of one company or he had to leave one company.
Yeah, well, I know he's not in charge of that pharmaceutical company anymore. Because when he got called to Congressional Hill to testify, they were like, is there anything you can do to persuade your former company to lower the price?
I plead the fifth.
And then he smiles and looks away.
And then he goes on Twitter afterwards and calls them a bunch of idiots.
Is it buffoons or
idiots? Might have been buffoons.
Buffoons, yeah. That's the ultimate slam right there when you get called a buffoon. I mean, I don't know about you, but...
I really wish they could have slapped him with some contempt charge or something just to do it.
Yeah, I mean, you're messing with senators. I mean, these are the powerfulest dudes in the country. But apparently he doesn't think that he's below anybody.
It's that mentality.
Yeah, that rich guy mentality. I wish I had that mentality.
It's like one of our movies we've loved in the last couple of years, Wolf of Wall Street.
Oh, yeah.
Leo does all that stuff, and he goes to jail, and he says, I'm not going to lie, I've never been more scared in my life. But then I realized I'm rich. I'm not going to regular people jail.
Rich people do not go to jail. They go to, like, a bed and breakfast for a couple of months.
They go to minimum security, Bernie Madoff.
Yeah,
jail.
That dude's another scumbag. But, okay, so before we started, we were just kind of hanging out and, we grabbed some dinner and we're watching a little TV and kind of brainstorming about what we want to talk about. And what's on TV? Live Free and Die Hard. And I mean, to me, the Die Hard movies are awesome except for the last one.
Yes,
but
awful.
We did notice that, and we came to the conclusion that every one of these movies, Bruce Willis has a bloody arm and a bloody hand. It's like his signature in these movies. And the other thing I noticed in Live Free and Die Hard, and I totally forgot about this, but my God, Mary Elizabeth Winstead is one hell of a babe, dude.
She's, especially in that film, she's amazing looking.
Oh, dude, she's gorgeous.
That movie has to be maybe 10 years old now?
Yeah, I think it came out in like 05 or 06 or
somewhere
something.
there. She's gorgeous.
Oh, holy shit, dude. I forgot all about that, man. She's gorgeous.
Even in the new, she's in the PBS drama Mercy Street, and it's like Victorian times. They're all prim and proper, and she looks hot in that.
Oh, yeah. I mean, and then we started, recalling all these movies she'd been in. Scott Pilgrim. She was the hot chick in Scott Pilgrim. And
it's probably the only reason to watch the Thing remake boot.
Yeah, The Thing. I mean, she was hot in that, even though she's in a snow coat most of the movie. Anyways, but she's going to be in 10 Cloverfield Lane, and she looks amazing in that movie.
I'm just saying, if I was John Goodman and she wrecked into my front yard, I'd probably chain up her in the basement too.
Yeah. Oh, she'd be locked up in my bunker, that's for sure. And I wouldn't be letting her out either. I'd lie to her, even if it was perfectly okay outside. I'd be like, oh, no.
Nuclear holocaust, we're the last two.
Yeah. Look, sweetie, you're never going to make it out of here because you'll melt. That's as simple as it is.
Radiation too much.
You're going to stay down here with me, and we're going to repopulate the earth.
Or we're going to have a good time trying.
Yeah, either way. But, so, we're going to go ahead and move on. And we want to keep it a little serious, too. We're going to talk about Supreme Court Justice Antonin Scalia dies.
It's very unexpected, I mean, I think Obama's already had two nominations with Hagan and Sonia Sotomayor, and nobody really saw this one coming, especially Scalia. Because while I've been meaning to look into the average ages of some of these justices, but they're all pretty up there. I mean, Ruth Bader Ginsburg's in her 80s. I believe there's 2 or 3 in their 80s. Scalia was he 79?
Yeah, he
was up there.
When you think of a Supreme Court justice dying, you think of them being like 93, not 79, because most of them are pretty old by the time they get in.
For life. And I know everybody was saying Ginsburg because she was having some health troubles.
Yeah.
In the last couple of years. I thought she was working out and she got hurt. So nobody's really expecting Scalia to go. And it just kind of came out of nowhere on his vacation in some West Texas ranch or something.
Yeah, I like how there's been all this talk that he's been assassinated.
Supposedly they found a pillow from the guy who died in bed.
And is in Texas, they have a law where you can call in the death over the phone. Mm-hmm. And I guess that's what happened or something. I'm not really clear on that.
I believe, Texas is a pretty big state. So there's always, there's a lot of distance to cover. So I guess the person who calls the time of death, they have to call a judge. They have to get a judge involved. So the judge did it over the phone.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, I'm sure is kind of standard practice. But, with a high-profile death like this, you'd think he might go out.
And then they had there was a pillow on his face and, whatever, people. This comes from the same people that, they actually think somebody is going to save them. And, they're just crazy people.
It's I love a good conspiracy theory. I'm all,
I am too.
Lee Harvey didn't act alone. But,
there was smoke on the grassy knoll.
I mean, somebody out there has a view of Obama standing over Scalia in bed holding the pillow himself.
Yeah.
And it's kind of sad that, in a way, we live in a world where somebody just can't die. It had to be something nefarious.
Well, and Obama did assassinate him. Let's get that straight right now.
I think if Obama writes his OJ book on how I would have done it, like 10 years from now, says, yeah, you know what? I did it. I'll be like, he was my president.
Yeah.
He killed a guy.
Yeah.
Everybody thought George Bush was a badass. No.
He got rid of a crazy guy who shouldn't have been making judicial judgments,
Yeah, I feel bad for his family and everything and his friends, but politically, I'm glad he's gone.
Yeah. But, moving on, Bernie Sanders is now surging in the national polls, and I think he's taken his first lead over Hillary Clinton. I couldn't be more excited. I'm feeling the burn. I'm feeling the burn. I've been telling people since high school this dude should run for president, and he finally does it, and he's kicking ass.
I'm not going to lie. I mean, I've been a Bernie fan for quite a few years. He was one of the few politicians who would show up on the talk shows, and I'd like to listen to.
Yeah.
And when they were talking about him running in the very beginning, kind of like, man, I love Bernie, but I don't know if he can do it. And even by the early reactions, I don't even know if Bernie really, really thought he could do it. But those early crowds and everything, I mean, the campaign's got to be on a roll. And, I feel bad for Hillary because I know she really wants to be president. And I'm not saying she doesn't deserve it. She's worked hard all her life.
I don't feel so bad for her because, she totally fucked up the whole Secretary of State thing. That was a disaster, some of the shit she got into. Is it all her fault? No. But she should have been smarter than... And then we've got this whole damn email thing that'll never go away. It's never going to go away.
I feel bad because the reason the emails won't go away is because she played politics with it. You can't really blame a politician for playing politics. But if she'd have just come out earlier and said, yeah, I admit, maybe I wasn't 100% right on some of the things I did. Maybe we should have played it a little differently. But I didn't do anything wrong. I've been through, 8 or 10 hearings now. I haven't been brought up on any charges. Mm-hmm. I didn't do anything legally wrong. Maybe I was wrong in some ways, but we got to move past it. And, that just all goes to show her enshrinement in sort of the established politics of the Democratic Party. And that's why, frankly, people like Bernie and Trump are having these surges, is because they're not part of the mainstream.
Yes.
That has sort of brought us to where we are. Everybody hates the politics answer. Everybody hates the middle of the road. I'm going to say what you want to hear now and then go tell somebody else what they want to hear. And I think Hillary kind of embodies that.
Now, see, here is an NBC poll, and it shows Clinton at 53 and Sanders at 42 nationally. So, I mean, the polls, it just depends who you go, and I think a lot of the media is supporting Hillary, and they're misleading the polls, in my opinion. But
I'm always a little weary of that kind of talk too, just because the Republicans had all that talk last election about how, oh, Mitt's going to win, all the polls are wrong. So, but I really think there's sort of a snowball effect that the longer Bernie goes, the more people hear about it. I think the more people realize he's got some good ideas.
Yeah,
and they want to latch on to like free college, and it's like we all know it's not really free. It's going to be taxes.
Yeah,
but people need an education.
A lady at work today, she was like, well, who's going to pay for that? And I'm like, well, who do you think's going to pay for it? It's going to be a tax. And I was like, the more people we educate, and let's be honest, if college was free, I would go back to school and do something with it. I mean, it's free. You're going to take advantage of it. And, who's going to pay for it? I'm going to pay for it when I get a higher salary and I'm paying into more taxes and I'm buying property and that's getting taxed. And then I'm buying a nice car and that's getting taxed. That's the trickle down economics that we need to see, not from the top.
And it's part of the other thing too of getting an education, getting a skill, because it's not all about college either. It's about just strong jobs, period.
Yeah.
And if that requires a college education, great. If it requires some kind of apprenticeship and some kind of skilled labor, that's great too, because it's the rising tide raises all boats.
Yes.
And that's what you really need at this point, because the way we're doing things has been the politics way for decades now. It's been the corporate profits over people way.
Yes, and it's not working.
You can't have an economy where all the money's going one direction. You have to have the money given to the people to spend the money so that it stays in circulation, and so that everybody's got their piece.
Yeah, see, here we go. Fox News from 2 hours ago. Clinton feels the burn. I like that. Trails Sanders by 3 points nationally. So there you go. He's surged, in my opinion.
So I'll be curious. I like to keep an eye on the polls. I'm really curious. The Democrats and Republicans have, I believe it's a caucus in Nevada and a primary in South Carolina coming up.
These caucuses, dude.
We'll talk about that. The Iowa caucus. I mean, we're doing coin flips here to decide delegates to decide presidential elections.
Okay, there's this many people on this side of the room, and there's this many people on this side of the room. There's got to be either even or dead heat. I mean, we're talking about numbers here, not coin flips.
Yeah, I don't.
That's not how democracy works.
You talk about outdated, just unintelligent. I did. This is the first time I'd ever really paid attention to a caucus. Even when Obama ran, who I voted for, back in 2004, I wasn't even paying attention at this spot. They still had Obama and Howard Dean and Hillary and Biden and all these people. Oh, Biden might have been, or Howard Dean might have been the election before with Kerry. But, you had this thing going on. I wasn't really paying attention quite yet like I am this year. And I watched it live on C-SPAN, and it's an interesting process. But it's really just a bunch of people in school gyms. It doesn't seem like, and each person, the Hillary person counts all the Hillary votes and the Bernie person counts all the Bernie votes. And not that I don't trust the people, but I mean, there's no trail for that. You can't go back and see, oh, somebody miscounted here, somebody did that. And I don't know. The caucus is just sort of a ridiculous format. I really think it's time to go.
Yeah, they got to read.
How hard is it to go and push a button on a screen? Okay,
exactly.
It's tallied. We figured it out. I think they still do it old fashioned. Even in the Republican Party, they'll put chips in a jar or somebody, and then they count who's got the most. So I really think it's time to go. I'll be curious to see the Democrats have Nevada this weekend, where I believe it's turning into a really close race. And at this point, I think even a tie or a close race is good for Bernie.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I almost feel bad for Hillary because she's getting, it's 2008 all over again, where she was kind of the nominee to beat, and Obama did.
He came out on fire, man. But Obama was such a he's a great speaker, and I think that's what got him. He could just speak.
He was a young guy. He was optimistic. He, in a way, kind of shared Bernie's message of we want to change things. We don't want politics as usual.
Right.
And unfortunately, it didn't really work because we're more polarized than we've ever been. well, maybe not ever, but we're polarized. The Republicans in the Senate won't even let him pick a nominee to replace Justice Scalia.
Yeah.
They want him to wait a year until there's a next president.
That's not going to happen.
No.
It's his constitutional right to pick the replacement.
And it's that simple. And it's their right to block it.
Yeah.
But to come out and flat out say that the president shouldn't do it.
I'd rather them just vote, you know what I mean, and say no than just say, well, we're going to block it.
But that's part of their problem. They don't want to vote because then they're on the record as having to take a stand.
Yeah.
And heaven forbid Obama picks somebody that they've already appointed almost unanimously.
Yeah, to some other position.
And he's got to say, look, you're playing politics 100%. So I think that it's just ridiculous the way some of these people are acting in politics at this point.
Yeah, it is. This is, I mean, I don't think I ever remember, like, between growing up and high school, the Senate and the House acting like this. I mean, it got pretty bad during the Bill Clinton and George Bush era, but they still compromised on stuff and they still passed bills and they got things done. But holy shit, these dudes are they're batshit fucking crazy. And I mean, I don't know what's going to happen, but I think if Bernie wins, I think he'll get the young people out to vote again. I want to say, and they'll get the Senate and the House back.
I just hope it gets people involved with thinking differently. There's lots of issues involved with our current politics that need fixed, and it kind of needs all fixed at once. We got redistricting's a horrible problem. Money in politics is a horrible problem, and it's going to take. Bernie's main issue is economics, and that's a big part of it. I think if you start to right that boat and get rid of these banks, you'll help.
You know what? The top economists have come out and said that Bernie Sanders' plan for the economy would raise the median income by 21 grand. Hey, I'm all for that because me and you, we fall right into that category. Mm-hmm. And, like you said earlier, a rising tide lifts all boats. If we raise the minimum wage, guess what? You're going to get a raise. And don't give me the argument you made $4 or $7 an hour when you first started working, so everybody should make that. Times have changed. Prices go up. A gallon of milk was $1.99 when I first started working. $1.99. Half gallons were 10 for 10 every week. Now what are they? I mean, every once in a while you'll see half gallons 10 for 10, but that's like a big time sale. Now it's $3.99 for a gallon of milk. I mean, come on, people. It needs to be raised. And, we seen a post on Facebook that we kind of got involved with, about not having a college degree but being successful. And Dave's my dude. I love Dave. He's the best. But, I don't think he was being negative to that person. He probably was, but I don't think it being too negative.
I think his point was that a worker deserves to earn.
Yeah.
Whether they're doing...
Well, his point was you still need to go to college. And I mentioned that not everybody is ample and ready to go to college, Let's face the facts, there are a lot of stupid people.
Well, it's just there's lots of different people. There are plenty of people. We need plenty of people to go to school and be chemists and engineers, this and that. And
yes.
But you're always going to need plumbers and electricians.
Yes.
You're always going to need skilled labor that don't need college, but they need skills and education. Yes. And then you're always going to need burger flippers.
Yes.
I mean,
it's not
people love to denigrate the burger flipper, but we went out and got some burgers tonight. I mean, when you want something to eat, you go pay for it. When you want anything, you have to go pay for it. Somebody has to do that job. And just because it might be some sort of menial job doesn't mean that they're not
you
working.
Deserve to be paid $3 an hour. Let me tell you something. Some of those people work hard and they're beat up, and after a certain set of years, they need that money. And things are just so expensive now between gas and electric and rent. I mean,
well, it's like you said. People talk about when I started, the minimum wage was this, that, or the other. When you look at inflation, people are underpaid now.
Yes.
Compared to if you made,
everybody's underpaid.
If you made $4 or $5, 20 years ago, you're actually making more than somebody making like $7 or $8 now.
Yeah.
And people don't always understand that.
The only people in this country that aren't underpaid are CEOs. I mean, that's the only people that aren't underpaid because they're taking all of the profits.
And That happens because they get so much more now in stocks. Most of them will tell you, I don't make that much in salary, even though quite a lot of them do, but they get paid in stocks.
Yep.
And I don't understand why a lot more companies these days don't have profit sharing and share their stocks with their employees. And when the company does good, everybody does good. And Robert Reich is he's I guess you call him economist. He teaches at college, and you'll see him on a lot of the political TV shows. He's also an author. He was Secretary of Labor under Clinton. And he wrote this book recently called Saving Capitalism. And in there he talks about how a CEO can use the company's money to buy back stock, and that temporarily pushes the stock price up. And then the CEO uses their stock option pay to sell his stock. So the CEO can use the company's money to artificially drive the stock up. Correct. And then cash out.
Yeah.
And that's not illegal, but it sounds like it should be.
It's pretty shitty, yeah. It should be illegal.
So I don't understand why we can't give employees those kind of benefits.
Yeah, and a lot of companies used to offer profit sharing until they realized they were giving away too much money because they were successful. But, I'm just tired of hearing the excuse, we can't raise the minimum wage because I didn't make that money. Well, guess what? In all of history, when we've raised the minimum wage, nothing bad has ever happened. It's been great for everybody. It's just a great opportunity for all of us. Like you said, a rising tide lifts all boats, and you're making $16-17 an hour now. They raised the minimum wage to $15, and that bottom burger flipper's making it. Guess what your company has to do? I just want you to guess this. Guess real quick what they have to do to keep you employed, because you claim you have a more stressful job and, it's more rewarding and whatnot. They're going to have to pay you more money so you don't go do the lazy burger flipper's job. And most people don't realize that.
It's the fact that we've got so many profitable companies in America. You talk about the burger flipper. McDonald's make profit every year. I almost guarantee you they're one of those billion-dollar profit companies.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they're in that area.
And they can't give their workers a bonus. I mean, it doesn't matter. That burger flipper is the guy who's making the money for you. He's the one making the burger and selling it to someone. And I get, people in the office, they work hard too, and they deserve plenty of money. But that guy down on the front lines, you should be making sure he's taken care of.
Yeah.
Because he's the one selling your product.
Here's the thing. I'm not saying it's a bad thing to make money. It's a great thing to make money.
We all want to make money.
But it's not cool to make it off the back of your workers. I mean, your workers are what makes your company. I mean, they're the face of your company. Take care of them. I mean, especially when the United States has become, it used to be an industry of manufacturing. It's an industry or a country of manufacturing. Now it's a country of service. It's all service-based jobs. Mm-hmm. I mean, at some point you're gonna have to start taking care of people because people are gonna get fed up with it and they might not choose your service.
And I think a lot more people look at that nowadays. They look how a company treats their employees. Of course, part of the other problem is you got a lot of these companies now that just merge together and monopolize, and they take away some of your choice. So I still think, people, especially with social media and the internet, they can get together and say, I think we should stop shopping at this place or buying this. Yeah. And it still works.
It does.
Even with some limited choice. So, there's still plenty of things customers and regular people can do. And I think they just have to be engaged and, really, really want to do it. And sometimes that's difficult and sometimes it's easy.
So was it wrong of me to say there's a lot of stupid people?
It's definitely not wrong.
It's not wrong. It's pretty accurate, actually.
I think anybody with a job will tell you there's lots of stupid people.
Yeah. Anybody who's worked retail in particular can pretty much guarantee that, that statement's 100% accurate. But God almighty, man, help us all.
And the internet's just shown you how much stupidity's out there.
Oh, I know. Meme after meme and picture after picture, we see stupidity unfold daily on the internet.
It's almost prized now to be the stupidest one,
Yeah. So we watched a couple movies last weekend when we hung out with the Nerdco Versus podcast. We kind of had like a little retreat and
little movie afternoon.
Movie afternoon. We had pizza and wings, and we just chilled out and watched. We watched The Audition, and we watched Everly. Now, for years, I've avoided watching The Audition because
you've heard it. You've heard it.
It messes you up, psychologically, and I'm not good with terrible gore. I'm good with like fun
Over
gore.
the top.
Yeah, but some stuff really gets to me. But I watched it and it wasn't that bad. I didn't have a terrible experience, but it was pretty messed up.
I still think if anybody who's seen it, they know there's some messed up stuff, especially get toward the end. But there's one little flashback where the main girl is like puking in like a dog bowl and feeding it to guy. That messed me up more than anything.
I mean, you'll never want to, after watching this movie, you'll never want to see any form of wire or piano wire. I don't even want to go near a piano right now. But man, she just takes it to that guy with some piano wire. Not to spoil anything for you, but
I think a lot of people know of that.
Yeah, now. I mean that's like the one thing a lot of people talk. I knew that there was a scene with piano wire in it. I didn't know what she was doing with it, but
and she's smiling the whole time.
I gotta say, I was really impressed with Everly though. Everly was a fucking fun movie. I mean,
it was a nice sort of low budget action movie,
right?
That I'd heard about for a long time. It just kind of kept passing up the option to watch it. But it's got Salma Hayek in it.
Dude,
Salma Hayek is one of those women I love to see in a movie.
She is still gorgeous. I went online and I had to look, just to see what pictures were out there and refresh my memory. But she's done scenes, she's let it all out. And man, I got to go back and watch Desperado and see the sex scene.
She was gorgeous in that movie.
Yeah, she was. I mean, that was the movie that made her right there. But I mean, she was fucking drop dead gorgeous in that movie. And I mean, let's face it, it doesn't look like much has changed. I mean,
no, you can see she's got some wrinkles, but she is still gorgeous.
She's still fucking hot, man. And look, I don't care, women. You like seeing Salma Hayek. I don't care what you say. You like seeing it. And guys, you like seeing it. This is a fun movie for you to watch. I mean, it's about an hour and a half, right?
Pretty much.
It's an hour and a half of Salma Hayek.
Fun, over the top,
Yeah, Salma Hayek's boobs bouncing around and her blowing dudes up and shooting people in the head. I mean, it's just way over the top.
A bunch of dead whores.
Lots of dead whores. So if you like whores, this is probably the movie for you to watch. Because there's a lot of dead whores. I said that one too many times, but...
Well, it's okay. They say it one too many times in the movie.
And man, we're on the countdown of some fucking fabulous shows and movies coming out. I just want to say that right now.
It's going to be like the blockbuster summer coming up.
I can't wait. I can't wait for March to come. I mean, we're literally 2 weeks away from House of Cards. I mean, I'm ready for some House of Cards.
I keep forgetting because they screwed me over by moving it. I think they've released the first 2 seasons in February.
February, yeah. Because normally we'd be watching this right about now. But
I almost wonder. I don't know. Supposedly there was supposed to be a House of Cards commercial during the Super Bowl or something around that time that referenced politics. And I'm waiting to see if they bring any real life issues into the show this season with the way politics has been lately.
Like a Supreme Court justice dying and Frank getting to pick one.
You know Frank killed one though.
Yeah, Frank killed a motherfucker over that. Man, Frank, I miss Frank. Frank's my dude. He's a little ruthless, but hey, in politics, it's war. Thank you for the nod there. That was excellent. And then right after that, we got Daredevil, man. We got John Barenthal playing the Punisher, which to me is just Shane coming over from The Walking Dead.
If you'd have asked me before, like, who would you like to see the Punisher? John Barenthal probably wouldn't have been in any top 10 list. But the second they announced him, someone's like, "Yeah, I get it." As soon as they announced it, like, I can see that. I think he's gonna knock it out.
Hey Kyle, sell me this pen. I'm sorry, I had to do it.
That's our Wolf of Wall Street reference.
That was our Wolf of Wall Street reference. And after that, literally the next weekend after that, which this is a dick move by Marvel, because they were going to release Daredevil in April, but right after that, we get Batman versus Superman. And we're going to close the show out on this one, because we can go a little bit for this. But
You know, we've been letting people have it for a long time about this movie coming out.
We've been fucking ripping people to shreds over this. And
you know, we've been day one supporters of Ben
one.
Affleck as Bruce Wayne Batman. And we've been telling people since day one, it's going to be okay. I don't know if you remember this or not, but, you know, it was big. People on Twitter were crying and ranting.
Bashed him. Didn't even give the man a chance. And I just want to say, we've gotten inch by inch, you know, a little bit closer to what he's going to be like as Batman.
People are catching on.
And the second trailer, I was just like, it confirmed all the shit talking that I've done. Because we both said, you know, if this turns out and he sucks, we're going to have to, like, stay off the internet for a while. But I am fully 100% confident that Ben Affleck will deliver. Because you know what? Warner Brothers is going to let him direct a Batman movie. That's how much confidence they have in Ben Affleck. Just suck on those words for a little bit. Warner Brothers has confidence in Ben Affleck to direct a Batman movie.
You know, we're not talking about, you know, 10, 15 years ago Ben Affleck. You know, we're talking about a guy who's mature as an actor, a director.
Yes.
Somebody who don't stay in the spotlight all the time, who's not afraid to let others, you know.
He hasn't made a bad movie in a long time. I mean, and I haven't seen him where he's been bad in a movie. It's not his fault if the movie is bad. But, you know, tomato. Some people say the opposite thing. He made the movie bad. Whatever.
He's one of those people that's just kind of fun to hate on, you know.
But let me tell you this. If you've seen the last Batman vs. Superman trailer, you got to be fucking stoked for this movie. It starts off with him in the Batjet, and he's talking to Alfred through the mic system. And Alfred's like, well, there's what do you want to call it when you see... He says that there's people on the third floor. We'll just put it that way because I'm at a loss of words. And he's like, let me drop you off on the second floor. So he hops out of the jet or the bat plane and then flips over into the second window of this floor. And then he shoots up in the middle of the floor. And I mean, it looks like Arkham Knight Batman. He's just like grounding and pounding with these dudes, flipping them over, diving over, bulldogging people. It looks awesome. And then they show scenes where Ben Affleck is Bruce Wayne. Holy cow.
We knew from the beginning he was born to be Bruce Wayne.
He's the real life Bruce Wayne. I mean, let's face it. But I'm stoked for that one. And then, you know, you can name it that for literally week after week. There's going to be a good movie after that one.
I'll be curious to see how much money this makes. I know they're at least a little bit concerned just because they've put so much time and money into this one. This has got to be the big one. You know, some people didn't like Man of Steel. We thought it was pretty good. And this is the one that's got to really take everything off. It's going to have Wonder Woman in everything.
Yeah, and Gal Gadot looks awesome as Wonder Woman. I mean, I got to give it to her. She looks pretty hot, you know. And I was really worried about that, but her accent seems fine. I mean, I don't know what kind of accent they were going to give her, you know, with her being...
or how they were just going to play the character in general.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what to expect. I knew what to expect with Aquaman. I knew they were going to go with that island look.
They had to make him the badass.
Mystical, and I mean, I knew that was coming. But I think either way, I think it's going to make $1 billion. It has to make $1 billion. I mean, all the hype around this movie, and everybody's talking about it, and everybody wants to see it so they can say something bad about it. I mean, so, and this is the Marvel haters coming in. I like comic books, so... That's just how it's going to be.
You know, I mean, it's just like Avengers. I don't think anybody quite saw the Avengers being what it was. And it worked because it worked on the screen. And frankly, I think Batman versus Superman is a little harder just because they're such different characters.
Yeah.
So if they pull it off, I think it's going to be really big.
Man, Superman's going to get his ass whooped, though. Let's hope. Anyways.
Hey, he's ready to do some damage from those trailers.
Yeah, it's going to, like I said, I just can't wait to see all of you people eat shit. That's all I'm saying.
I believe you said you hope the internet haters don't disappear when Ben Affleck knocks it out of the park.
I did post that on the Nerdco page. I put please don't disappear, you know, when you find out how good Ben Affleck is as Batman. So, but Batman. I think that's all we're going to talk about tonight. I mean, anything else you want to bring up?
No, I think that was a pretty good show this week. I think not a whole lot going on yet.
Hopefully we didn't bore you with the politics, Worst case scenario, you can skip over that segment, or if not, you can talk shit to us about politics. We don't care.
Yeah, we're not thin-skinned.
I've got plenty of friends that love Donald Trump. Oh, which, by the way, I don't think we talked about this. Donald Trump pulled off the ultimate trolling that I've seen. I don't think anybody's done this politically, but Jeb Bush forgot to renew JebBush.com.
How do you do that?
I don't know, man. So when you go to JebBush.com, it redirects you to Donald Trump's campaign's website, and that is phenomenal. I mean, if you didn't think the pussy comment was enough, he just outdoes himself every time. I mean, I gotta say, I do enjoy seeing him speak. He does crack me up.
I love watching the debates with him because he just tears into everybody. Nobody's safe.
No, nobody is. But man, he is a bully to Jeb Bush. I gotta say that right now.
Almost poor Jeb.
And he's got to call Big Brother in, who was such a fuck up. That's bad when your brother's the worst president in the United States history.
That was a great reaction when he started going after Bush in one of those debates. Everybody just started booing, and Donald just wasn't having it.
Yeah. Well, we'll see what happens. But this will be the bi-weekly podcast to go opposite of the Nerdco Versus podcast. So I don't know who's going to be with me next time, whether it's you or somebody else.
More people, less people?
Yeah, I don't know.
Kind of playing this one by ear.
Yeah, we just kind of threw this together, and I mean, we're no stranger to the format of what we want to do, but like I said, this was something I wanted to do for a long time. I wanted to be able to talk about something that we don't normally talk about, on the Nerd Covers. I wanted to branch out. And, I don't expect everybody to agree with what we said here tonight. But, hey, if you disagree, let us know. Let us know. We're not, we will love to debate with you and talk about whatever you want to talk about. If you believe the Earth was created 6,000 years ago, and go ahead, tell us. And we'll be glad to chat with you. We'll actually get a couple other people to chat with you. But,
yeah, just, let us know what you want to talk about. Let us know what you want us to talk about. What do you want to talk about? What are people talking about?
Actually, fuck you, because I'm going to talk about what I want to talk about. So
that too.
Look at me now. This is my show. Later.
Woo!